Hi there. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast with me, Russell Davis. This week, we're unpacking the subject of people pleasing. A lot of my clients relate to the idea of being a people pleaser, and I very much was a prized people pleaser for a lot of my life until I had that realization and began to change the course of my life for the better. So let's unpack what it means to be a people pleaser. What's going on behind the scenes that means we get caught into that behaviour? What can we do to let it go and start living what I call more from a place of inside out, grounded to your innate well-being, and living a life of passion and inspiration? Like all my podcasts, I encourage you to listen for a feeling within. Don't try to understand my words. My words aren't where the magic is. It's what they prompt within you. That's where the magic is. That's where change comes from. Well, let's dive in. A colleague once said to me when I was in my corporate job that I was like a chameleon. Whoever I was with, whether it was the CEO of this large multinational company or someone on the shop floor, I got on with them. They liked me, I connected with them. It's like I moulded myself to them. It's a large company in different departments, of different cultures, but I just got on with people. People liked me. And he said it as a compliment. And I was in an account management role. My job was to get on with people and connect with people and connect diverse teams, make sure they work together. But as he said that, I know he meant it as a compliment. What struck me was, well, who am I? Who's the real me? And it was a real kind of light bulb moment that I was starting to feel a bit disenfranchised working there. Just didn't feel it was feeding my soul. It wasn't really me. And that just really helped me see that's one of the reasons why I think, was I really being me in that role? Who was I? And that quickly snowballed to realize a lot of my life, most of my life, all my life, no, not all my life, we're not born this way. Most of my life, I quickly learned in a young age, tried to work out who I should be, to meet other people's expectations, my mother's expectations, so she's proud of me and I feel loved, rather than she's disappointed or angry with me, and I feel less loved as a child in that situation. Yeah, so most of my life I lived away trying to work out who I needed to be, rather than being me, rather than being me. And obviously that people pleasing is wanting people to like us, to love us, not be disappointed by us, not to think badly of us, to be accepted, to be respected, to be a valued member of the tribe, to get that validation we're good enough. That validation we're good enough. And we're going about trying to do things in a way that gets the response we want, gets the people to think of us the way we want them to avoid their negative judgment. But actually, it's not about what they think. We can't control what someone thinks of us. And it's exhausting trying to do that. It's exhausting trying to live in a way that's trying to manage other people's thinking. At the end of the day, it's not about what other people think. It's about what we think of ourselves. Because the more we know we're enough, we don't care what other people think. The more we know we're enough, we're rooted to our own self-confidence. We don't become this selfish, arrogant gits. That's a different bunch of insecure thinking. We care less about what people think. Doesn't mean we become less sensitive or caring as a person. We're just more grounded and rooted to our own innate well-being. We have more self-confidence to be ourselves. We're not needing validation. It doesn't mean we don't care what people think. It just means we don't need their validation. It's a very different space. And we shift from being a caretaker to serving more powerfully. So a lot of people pleasers now, as I say, I loved doing things for other people, helping other people, but there are no boundaries. I found it hard to say no. If I couldn't think of a good reason to say no, I'd say yes, because I felt guilty to say no. The idea of saying no because I didn't want to do something was a bit of an alien concept. So I thought I should if I could. So if it's helping someone or serving someone, then it becomes no boundaries. It becomes exhausting, becomes draining, and unconsciously we do it to get a kick, to get that feedback, to get that validation. That's not serving. When we truly know we're okay, we can serve from a more powerful place, less of a needy place. And there's a boundary to our serving. Sometimes we can say yes, sometimes we will say no. Even the greatest givers in society, Jesus, Mother Teresa, they had times when they said no, times on their own to recharge. There's a boundary to our giving, it becomes serving. And when we recognise it's not about what other people think, it's about our relationship with ourselves. That was a real eye-opener to me. And I wasn't expecting it. I was really craving the idea of being held in love. What I mean by that is I craved to know the energy of life, the life's got my back. To feel held, to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel secure. Like a child in a perfect home. Just relax and be. The feeling of home. I was craving that. And I believed in the energy of life. I believed in an energy of love, a God of love. But I never really experienced it. It was quite a theoretical perspective rather than a really feeling it in my heart and my soul. And the first time I learned to quieten my mind is be present and felt the energy of life, love, unconditional love. I expected to feel being hugged. But actually what it was a self-compassion. It was a compassion for myself that I was good enough, that I've been so hard on myself, beating myself up, constantly saying I'm not good enough. It was a love in the flavour of self-compassion, self-love. It wasn't this external being enveloped by this love, being hugged by an external being or an energy of life. It was completely within me. It was me loving myself. And I think that's where it starts. We can't receive love unless we know how to love ourselves. It's got to start within us. And that started a whole journey of me recognizing it's okay to have desires, to have likes, to say no because I don't want to do something, not because I think I haven't got a good reason to say no. To explore what do I want in this world, not what do I need, what should I do, what must I do, what do I want? It was quite an alien concept, which is quite common for kind of people pleasers because it's been so focused on meeting other people's expectations and thoughts and needs and desires. Our internal kind of hopes, dreams, desires go out the window. They're not important. As a child, what I wanted was not important. I had to work out what my mum wanted, what would please her. So I shut down my own kind of hopes, dreams, desires in that moment and in life unconsciously. So I had to relearn about what does it mean to know what I want? What do I want? And start flirting with ideas. Follow my bliss became my mantra. To start exploring who am I? What do I like? What do I want? And it boiled down to, who am I? Back to that question that, who am I? That idea of being a chameleon. Well, who am I in all this? With my clients, I help them create a manifesto of me, a really clear list of statements that define who they are. And that can change over time. It's an evolving, living document, but it really helps get clear, this is who I am. Because we have habitual thinking pointing us in the wrong direction. We have expectations of others that sometimes drown out our truth. It can be quite easy, unfortunately, to lose sight of who we really are, our true self. And sometimes we need reminders. One of my statements of who I am is I'm loving presence. And I could be talking to my wife. My mind wanders. I'm in a hurry in my head, rushing on to trying to do the next thing, and think to myself, I haven't got time for this. And I'm looking at her, I'm kind of responding, but not fully present. I'm not being loving presence. And that statement comes to mind. I'm loving presence. And it reminds me who I really am, who I choose to be. And I come back to being present. It's a compass. It's a North Star. It's a reminder of my truth, an anchor. Because our habitual thinking we've learned over the years is contaminated by fear and insecurity and looking outside in for validation and okayness. It just takes us away from our true self. So the antidote of people-pleasing, in my experience, is self-love, self-compassion. It's knowing you're loved for who you are, that you are enough. You're enough and you're worthy. And from there we start to explore life from the inside out, not anchored to our innate well-being that knows we're okay. We start to explore what we really want in life, our heart's desires, our hopes and our dreams. Be more connected to our true self. For me, that's where the magic happens. That's when we take inspired action. That's when we feel connected to a vision for our life that gives a sense of purpose. And then it's having the courage to make the choices that move us towards that. So if you feel or think you're a people pleaser, what are the judgments of yourself that you could begin to forgive yourself for? What are the judgments of yourself you have that maybe you can start to forgive yourself for having those judgments, telling yourself those stories? And start to have that self-compassion because you're worth it. Loving you.